Well, Patriots, this is Scott, Sanctuary Select Services, coming at you for the last time this week from California. I'm actually on time with my response today. Might be the first time. So, the question that I asked on Monday, that I posted on Tuesday, was imagine hearing screams for help in a parking lot at night. You cannot immediately tell who the aggressor is, whether weapons are involved, or whether others are nearby. How do you balance the desire to help with the need to avoid becoming party of the danger yourself? So I actually got 3 responses from the field this week. A couple of my diehards that always respond, and then I got a new person this week, and I was really excited for that one because it's another person from my past that I've got a lot of experience with and really trust his judgment. Um, and he actually brought a different twist to an answer to that question, to that situation. But before I get into that, I just want to thank all you guys out there for following me, hitting the like buttons. Hopefully you're sharing this with people, and I'd like to see more responses from you guys to these questions. Remember, this is just how you think you would respond. There's no right or wrong answer. It's more or less to help you guys get those juices flowing to think about the different situations and what you might do, and maybe grow a little bit and start to think more situationally about the things you find yourself in. All right. So Alan Kruth, my battle buddy from Boot, his response was, "Evening, Scott. In this scenario, hearing cries for help, a skirmish, altercations, etc., I will likely assess the situation, look for details, see if I can ascertain if I should get involved or not. There have been too many cases of the Good Samaritan being prosecuted for getting involved. Mr. Penny, the former Marine, as an example. On the other hand, he did the right thing. I have to live with myself either way. If I assess the situation, and part of that assessment is that I can live with myself afterwards, could I live with myself if I just turned around and walked away? When I know I could have intervened and perhaps saved a life. Nope, I've got to decide to intervene, possibly place myself in harm's way, perhaps to the point of having to draw my sidearm and defend myself. Did I just escalate the situation? Could the bad guy sue me? Am I the bad guy for stepping in when I could have walked away? That's what gets me tied up in knots at night, thinking about these kind of what ifs. I know the right thing to do, by God, is to step in, defend the weak with my own life as necessary. That's what I'll do. I'll do it to protect myself and others, and why. So, Al, good response there. These are a lot of the good questions we have to ask ourselves. You've heard me say it before. When you find a situation like that, sometimes it's okay to be a good witness, get good details, call 911, report the incident, right? Um, Sometimes it might escalate to the point where we have to make a physical choice about jumping in and becoming part of that equation versus just being that good witness, right? And then Alan Cole was my second response to this one. As someone who is always wanting to help others, if I heard someone yelling help in a parking lot, there would be many questions I have to ask myself before stepping up. Number one, what state am I in, and what are the rules while carrying a firearm? Day or night? Number three, is it a terrified scream, a voice of someone faking it? There are people trying to bait others into trafficking purposes. Number four, what are my surroundings before I engage in any form? Number five, call 911 if needed, or do so anyways to protect yourself going forward. Number six, who's your backup if you're not alone, and how can they assist in any way? There are other things to think about, but that would be my first thoughts. So Alan Cole brings a lot of good things there, is assessing, is it a real scream for assistance, or is it somebody trying to draw somebody out, and is it a bait situation, right, to try and kidnap? Um, those are really good. That's a really good one, Al. What are the situations? What state is he in? What are the gun laws about intervening? Are there any? Uh, and then calling 911. And that's a really good point. Even if you're just being that good witness, right, you're still going to call 911. If it escalates to the point where you have to get involved, now you're already on the phone with 911. They're going to be recording everything that you do as you go in to render assistance to the person that's in distress. So these are really good points right there, right? So you can build these layers. I mean, there's layers to these responses. And that is what Michael Cooper responds with. And I really do appreciate this one because Mike goes in, kind of goes more into the psychological thought process, the neurology of figuring out if you're going to engage or not. So Mike's response is, this question calls into play a lot of psychology. The psychology of self-assessment, how well you know yourself, intuition, judgment, risk assessment, risk mitigation, memory, executive function, muscle memory, short-term memory, long-term memory, strategic planning, and execution. All of those things mentioned have to be done in a microsecond or constantly evaluated and repeated as you continue to gather more intelligence on the situation as it develops. With all of this taken into consideration or into account, the individual faced with this situation makes the best decision possible to obtain the desired outcome. For some, it's the safety of the self. For others, it's to find out more information. And for a select few, it is to save those in harm's way. The question a person has to ask themselves is, which one are you, and which one do you want to be? And what will you do to prepare yourself? Thanks for coming to my Michael Talk. Great question, Scott. Thanks, Mike. I really do appreciate that one. Right? So all the things that both Alan Kruth and Alan Cole spoke to, right? Those are the kind of the rubber meets the road area after we get through all these microscopic brain functions, right? The things that we go through in just fractions of seconds to make the determination of all those things that Michael addressed, right? Military law enforcement have a term called OODA loop, right? The OODA loop is basically we're observing, we're assessing, we're collecting that intelligence, we're making a decision, and it's a loop, which means once we go through it once, we go through it again and again and again and again and again. And it isn't just in a threat situation. You can OODA loop everything in your day. And as a matter of fact, you do it when you're not even thinking about it. When you're driving your car, you're always on an OODA loop. It's not something that could necessarily be life-threatening, but we already do these things, right? So all we have to do is apply that thought process to a dangerous situation or a situation where somebody may be at risk, right? So both my buddies Alan's and Mike, I appreciate your responses today. Pay attention for next week's question situation as I post it on Monday. And I'd like to have you guys continue to post up responses. You guys have got some real world experience in this kind of stuff, and it always helps. I said, this is the kind of stuff that helps me speak a little bit more on it, go a little bit deeper into the weeds, and hit areas that I might miss, just trying to go off the cuff and provide some of these responses. So again, you guys, I appreciate it. All you guys out there, remember, if you really like this, if you're learning anything, even if it's just that I'm a clown, like, subscribe, follow, share, and most of all, comment. Right? Comments are important. Sharing is equally important because, as I say a lot, you never know who this might help. It may not mean much to you, but you might forward this to a group of friends and somebody might find themselves in that situation this weekend. All right, with that being said, I love you guys. Be safe. Stay smart. Pay attention to your situational awareness this week, and God bless y'all.